Okay, what's happening? This is section 1.7, the distributive property. Um, Basically, what the distributive property says, it's kind of a way to cheat order of operations. So, for example, in an expression like this, 3 times, and then in parentheses, 2a minus 7, in an expression like that, normally you'd have to do what's inside the parentheses first, and then multiply by the thing on the outside of the parentheses. But I can't do that here. I can't combine these in here because that has an a and that doesn't. So a way we can kind of get around the order of operations, what we need to do, just multiply by what's on the outside. So 3 times 2a is 6a, and 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And I did that a minute ago, and my computer crashed. So that's why I went ahead and did that already. So let's look at another one here. Let's take negative 3, and the numbers on the right-hand side here, that's okay, negative 3 times both of these. So negative 3 times 3x, it's going to be negative 9x, and negative 3 times 4 will be negative 12. And the main thing to remember when you're multiplying by a negative is that that will change all the signs of everything you're dealing with. So the positive becomes negative, the positive becomes negative, and if there are any negative terms in here, it will become positive because I'm multiplying by that negative 3. Now that's for multiplication. You could do the same thing with division. So this over 2 here, I can distribute to each of the terms. So I can put the 4x over 2 plus, and then I can put the 7 over 2. And if I can simplify any of that, I should. And yeah, the 4x over 2 will simplify. So that'll be 2x plus 7 over 2. Okay, so the 4 over 2 reduced. 4 divided by 2 is just 2, and 7 over 2 didn't reduce. So I left it alone right there. So if you have a division problem, you can go ahead and distribute that as well. Distribute it as division. You know, the multiplication we distribute as multiplication, the division we distribute as division. Okay. Sometimes you have just a negative in front of your parentheses, and that's kind of like there is a negative 1 there. And what I do with this is I don't really think about it as that. I just say, look, there's a negative out front, just change everything. Change all the signs in front of every term. So a positive 2 becomes negative 2. A negative 3 becomes a positive 3. A positive 4 becomes a negative 4. So take all of your terms and change the signs, and that will get you the answer. That's the same as multiplying by negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. And negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4. So that will work out nicely for you if you just change the signs. And one last one here, and again, I'm kind of going through this quickly, but I'm assuming you remember a little from before, is combining like terms. So what I have is I have 3x squared, 2x, 5x, and 4. Now the only like terms are going to be the 2x and the 5x, because an x squared and an x are different. They're different enough that I cannot combine them together. So the things that I can't combine, I'm just going to write 3x squared. And then these I can combine together, and I underlined the sign in front of it as well. It's really important to note the sign in front of each term. So I have positive 2 and a negative 5. That's going to give me, well, I have two different signs. The 5 is going to win, so I make it negative, and 5 is 3 bigger than 2. So 3x and then plus 4. Okay, so there's an example of combining like terms. Again, kind of assuming that you remember that from before. We did a little bit of that last week, and so I hope you are really, really good with that one. I want you to go ahead and turn to page 49 and try the lesson check for me.